UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the UK League Championship. We're just about to kick off our second game between Barrage and Enclave. Now, Orcs, talk to me about these rosters, because I'm looking at Enclave and I'm saying that's a pretty stacked roster.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have that opinion coming into this. I think by all means, Enclave have a really solid roster. We're seeing 3 players who are very much veterans of the UKLC and Only Angel, Rabstar, and Shogun. Rafa has a fair amount of experience, and Jacob has just come off a split playing in the Nordic Championship. So a lot of experience. And we saw last game, Rifty, who we talked about as a veteran, he really showed up. So on paper, I think Enclave are up there with London as 2 of the strongest teams. And I think for the side of Barrage, we have a bit more inexperience. I think there are a couple of members, Akers and KDO, who we have seen a little bit of, and those 2 could be the ones to lead the rest over the line. But the other 3 players are a lot less known. They haven't had time in the UKLC, and that's not to say they won't necessarily be good. It just means we have a lot of expectations for Enclave. Barrage is very much upsetting the apple cart if they're going to get a victory here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I look at Jacob, he did have a rough last split over in the Nordics, and I think of the Nami mid lane we had out of him, which was an interesting pick. But I do look at the other people, like Only Angel had like a triumphant return to the UK scene. He's been a fantastic top laner the whole time. Shogun as well, been around for a very, very long time here in the UK scene, and an incredibly strong bot lane, especially with the fact that you combine that up with Rabstar. I think this bot lane is the lane I'm really excited to watch going into this game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the bot lane is going to be a big factor. I think Rabstar is someone who has shown a lot of potential, but kind of flopped. We saw him last split on Demise, and he just really did not look good. But that was playing up against the likes of the Academy teams, who are very formidable. When we saw XL, UK, and BTXL, and Fnatic Rising. So I think for me, it's very much sort of how is he going to show up in this scenario where he's in one of the top teams, whereas before he was in one of the bottom teams. It could be a very different dynamic for him and an opportunity for him to really prove himself.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to see once we get through into the pit champ select where the attention's going to go, because last game we saw, BB Muffin, who was new in his role and new to his lane, kind of got hard banned out. They put through a lot of mid lane bans down. Curious to see where the attention is in this game. We can see a lot of bot lane focus. We know the Varus Fresh is high priority. Same with that Syndra in the bot lane, but things like the set that's super flexible could go through this ban phase. So I'm pretty excited to get going into this game and see where the attention is in Champ Select.
I think it depends. I think there's so many powerful picks that you can sort of stylize your composition around. I don't think there's a sort of like pick these and you automatically win. I think it very much comes down to what lane you're trying to play through, what power picks are enabled. I do think that with just the sheer amount of them that are on the cards, it does make things pretty tricky going through draft, because there's no guarantee you're going to shut out everything that's pretty strong at the moment. I mean, just off the top of the bat, Syndra, Varus, Thresh, Yuumi, Graves, all really powerful. Ornn as well, Trundle, Ezreal. All these picks can really define a game. And that's not even looking at the later ones like Aphelios that we saw have a massive performance there, Set as well. I think ultimately it's like you try and thin out the power picks and then see what you're left with. Critically, as we always talk about, Red side is going to have that sort of counter picking advantage. It gets those 2 powerful picks on its first rotation. So I feel like there is that sort of favorable aspect. As long as you don't leave anything open that you can't deal with, then you should be good to pick up 2 strong picks in the first rotation and translate that into a lot of power. I expect ultimately it's kind of on Barrage to shut down the strong aspects of Enclave. I think bot lane could potentially be a concern, but in honesty, I'm looking towards Jacob. I've heard good things from the results he's been having in scrims. You talked a little bit about the Nami mid we saw from him, how it didn't work out, but I really have faith that he can shine in this league.
He's an experimenter, and that's one of the key things. Like the Nami mid didn't work out for him, but at least he was willing to try it. And I feel like on this roster, he's definitely going to be a bit more switched on. I feel like the Nami was a bit of a troll pick. I think they were just having a bit of fun that game. So we'll have to see what his game plan is here, because on the games where Jacob played well, he played really well in the Nordics last year. So a bit of a coin flip player for me personally. I don't know if you'll back that statement up or not, but for me, he felt a little coin flippy. But like when the coin landed heads, he played really, really well. Now let's talk a little bit about these junglers here. So what are we expecting coming out of these two? Do we know anything about their styles? What are we looking at, Orcs?
So I think for me, there's not a ton. I haven't seen too much of Afroboy at all. And although Rafa does have some competitive experience, it's typically the one who has sort of more experience is going to come out with the stronger read on the jungle. We've seen Rafa play a lot in Spain, in the Portuguese league on Kick. And so someone with that wealth of experience is expected to sort of take priority. And often we'll see them leaning on these more active picks that can impact the game sooner. And my expectation is going to be looking to track the enemy jungler and just shut down everything that Afroboy is trying to do.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be getting into picks and bans nice and soon, and then we can start kind of figuring out what we're gonna be jumping into here. So I'm pretty excited to see where this game's gonna go because we did our votes before. I believe we were both Enclave in this game, if I remember right.
Yeah, we both did have Enclave for this game, so both seeing it a similar way where Enclave have been the dominant team. Now, we are going to go to picks and bans in a second, but we're going to quickly throw it to break here before that.
No,
so
we're
we'll
not.
see you in a short moment.
Are we?
Oh,
No, we're not. Don't
might
worry.
just been told,
we got
sorry, never
trolled
mind.
by production. I didn't think we were referring to a break there. All right, hopefully we're getting into game nice and soon. There we go. So we're loading in to the champ select. We can see what everyone's going to be picking. We had a long talk about this. I'm just excited to see where the attention's going to be. Expect to see the things like the Varus, the Fresh, taking away at least one of those two. The Varus most likely going to be the ban, but we're into picks and bans now. We can see what is going to be going on. Barrage on that blue side, Enclave on the red.
So it's sort of a matter. It's like a sort of bingo thing. You watch as the OPs get sort of scratched off, and then you're like, okay, is there something left open? Can we sort of rely on that to carry us through? And Barrage obviously have the first choice on those champions. Seen Senna banned away. This is something that's sort of risen in priority since we've seen the new build for Senna, which is the Grasp of the Undying combined with Frozen Mallet. You're a lot tankier, a lot harder to kill, a lot of utility and a lot of laning strength, but you're not doing quite as much damage as the sort of lethality Senna traditionally did. So again, we're seeing those power picks banned away. Syndra denied away from Barrage on that first pick, but still a lot of power. Varus, Thresh, Ornn, still available and on the cards.
There's going to be the Callista as the final ban here by Barrage, and it's over towards Enclave on the red side. What do they want to take away? What do they want to leave open? What do they deem first pickable for Barrage, effectively? Because they can leave a lot open here. It's going to be the Trundle. The Varus and the Fresh are both open, crucially here. So if Barrage don't pick that up, it would have been an insanely strong pickup for Enclave to get both of those two. They do get their hands onto that Varus, and now Enclave, I feel like they want to get that Fresh because if you pair the Varus and Fresh together, there's safety in that lane, and also the potential post level 6 is going to be really, really nasty.
It's just so hard to lane against. There just aren't that many good options into the Varus that are going to be able to handle just the sheer amount of pressure he puts down. The lethality build just really just chunks anything out going up against it, and it's a nice pickup from Enclave. We see the Ornn and the Thresh, which are both strong tools, but they really need something that they're enabling, and we haven't seen that so far. But going to take the Zoe as well, so already super strong poke composition, and then after that seeing the Braum come out, which I'm not super confident on, in all honesty. I would have preferred maybe like something else that would have offered the same level of utility, but the Braum isn't the greatest matchup into Thresh, but it's still going to offer that utility against the Ornn is the critical thing. So you're sacrificing a bit of laning power in return to shut down this Ornn's threat onto the Varus. And Jacob hovering the Nami, throw back to that one, but is going to take the Azir in the situation.
It makes sense to get Emperor Pigeon now. Enclave got 2 bans to go. They're going to look to ban away most likely some top laners here and give Only Angel as much of a comfortable matchup as possible. That's just the Olaf actually denied. Don't want to deal with that. The Ezreal gets denied from Rabstar. They can start to thin out on that AD carry pool. What kind of AD carries are left though? You got the Aphelios. Is that the next ban here if you're Barrage?
Potentially. I mean, he has a decent lane into the Varus in the early stages at least, because you have that Severum healing that you can rely on and you have the extra range of the Kilibrum, but ultimately the AD carry pool's been thin quite a bit and Varus is just so strong. There aren't a ton of great options. Seen a lot of the early pressure junglers, and to me this suggests that Enclave I mean, you look at their picks so far and you look at their bans in the second rotation, it really feels like they're looking for a scenario where they're allowed to get to the later stages of the game. If they get through the early stages safely, I think their picks will start to sort of carry them. My concern is this mid game, though. Zoe Varus in the mid game is just really hard to deal with, especially with an Azir who is very vulnerable to poke champions who outrange him. I'm a little bit concerned so far for the side of Barrage.
All right, well, as we're looking to pick up most likely an AD carry or a jungler here, the Jhin is the pickup there for Rabstar. So kind of playing with some range, playing with some kind of scaling and some burst available to him.
Decent laning phase, decent amount of range, which is nice into the Varus. And I did see Ravs actually posted a pentakill from him on Jhin, not in solo queues. So clearly been practicing this champion, but ultimately not really a staple in the meta at the moment. Not one of these high tier AD carries we typically see. And the Wukong coming in as an answer instantly, and then the Jarvan as well. These are two picks that can very much provide an issue for a Jhin. And a mobile carry like him, if you have space to work with, you can work off the movement speed you give yourself. But if you get CC'd, you will just go down extremely quickly. And that's why we're seeing Jacob and Rabstar both go on the cleanse, because they need a little bit of space to play around. Now, should be looking towards the jungler here for Rafa. We still see the likes of the Gragas open. Looks like he's just going to go the Shyvana, though. So, again, more for farming-oriented sort of play style. It'll be interesting to see if we see the AP or the on-hit Shyvana. But ultimately, I expect it to be the on-hit, because it would give them just a huge front line. They have these backline carries. As long as they can keep them safe, they're in a pretty solid spot the later it gets in the game. My big concern is the early pressure from the Jarvan, and just the mid game of this Varus Zoe is just so difficult to deal with, and they don't really have great options for that.
If it was the AP Shyvana, then it was, for me, it was kind of like they're answering poke with poke. Although they're kind of outranged on that poke. So we'll have to see what Rafa decides to go for. The Shyvana obviously will offer some scary threat to KDO if he gets caught out by the Shyvana and the kind of Jhin combo. But when he's got that Braum standing in front of him, I feel like it's going to be really hard to catch KDO in these games, in these fights, especially when you've got the Wukong who's going to be running interrupt on the front line, backed up by Afro Boy on the Jarvan. There's so much front lane kind of tools to make sure that people get off KDO. And then on the back line, you've got the Braum standing with him as well. You've got the Zoe throwing out poke. It's going to be so hard to actually walk through this Barrage team, without taking, excuse the pun, the barrage of abilities and the barrage of damage you're going to take. So I'm really excited to see how they're going to play this one out here. For the side of Enclave, it's an interesting comp for me. I like what they've got in an idea here, but the execution's really going to have to be on point, because I feel ease of execution is very much in Barrage's favor right now. And it is the Poke Shyvana, the Dark Harvest, has been picked up for Rafa. So we are seeing the heavy poke build Shyvana.
Yeah, a little bit less AP, but a lot of power on the back of that, especially when you use your ultimate. But you are gated heavily by having that one available. Now, for me, most of all, as you said, it's going to be difficult to get onto that back line. And I think that is a key aspect of having a poke composition. It's like, if you can do the poke, that's great, but you need to be able to mitigate the engage from the enemy team. I think that's important, which the Braum really answers well onto the Angel. And having the Jarvan and the Wukong as disruptors is great too. Ultimately, though, I feel like this game is going to be one where Barrage Academy have to have a firm control on the match. As soon as they start to slip, that's when I'll get concerned.
Alrighty, well, we are loading through into the game. Shouldn't be too much longer before we get into that one. Is the Meteor build on Jacobs, is it a bit more kind of focused on the laning phase poke available to you? You sometimes see the lethal tempo get picked up by the Azirs in the mid lane, but there's been a bit of a shift on that as well. However, everything else I'm just kind of looking over, seems to be pretty standard here for both of these teams.
We will be loading into games shortly, but before that, we're going to have a quick break. So we'll see you after that when we get into game.
UKLC is presented by Barclays and Curry's PC World.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the UK League Championship. The teams have loaded onto the Rift. We're getting ready to go into our second game of the day. It's Barrage Academy taking on Enclave. The teams are on. We're ready to fire up and get going into our second game of the day.
Yes, hopefully get into it shortly. And we had pretty eventful game one of the day between Vision and Demise, where Demise came out ahead. I think both of us are called Enclave in this one, but I'm always eager to sort of be proved wrong in these scenarios.
Well, our teams are here. They're getting ready to go. You can see everyone's leaving their base.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Seconds to minion spawn.
So again, big thing we can watch out for here is Afro Boy. On the Jarvan, you are enabled from level 2. As soon as you have access to that, you can start to make an impact on the map. You can start to target some of these laners who maybe aren't respecting the gank potential of a Jarvan in the early games. So watching him, I think, is going to be a critical factor for Rafa. Until you get your ultimate available, you are playing more for farming game, just trying to get towards that. We'll have to see how things do pan out.
I've actually never seen this game in skin. I've seen in this skin in game. I've seen it in TFT. I've actually never seen it in an actual league game.
Well, maybe you're playing too much TFT and not enough Jhin on the Rift.
You don't want to see me playing Jhin.
I completely agree. But so since the spring season, something we've seen a massive emergence of is this Varus. Typically the poke build, obviously back then we saw a lot of the on-hit Varus. Now we are seeing this Varus with the lethality build, with the Comet, and essentially it's really hard to challenge in the laning phase. It's pretty oppressive. It causes a lot of issues, a lot of problems, and that is my concern in this laner phase for the side of Enclave, is that if KDO starts putting down the herd, Rabstar will start to struggle. You don't have any built-in sustain in your kit. You have fleet footwork, which is something, but that can often not quite be enough. You see already he's chunked down and nearly half HP just on the back of that first initial trade.
Yeah, they're going to be able to push this wave in here with that level advantage, and now the poke can just go down. Rabstar just getting chunked out, like you were saying.
That's the big thing with
this Varus.
That's a big thing with poke Varus, though. You have to hit your abilities.
True.
Don't do any damage if you miss them. But even so, I think the big thing is that the piercing arrow, a bit easier to dodge. But the hail of arrows, there's not much wiggle room. The hitbox is really just quite massive on that. And as you see, Rafa playing a little bit careful here, concerned about going for this red buff in case he gets invaded. But so far, Afro Boy, we said, Jarvan is enabled from level 2. He can start ganking from level 2. He hasn't done so. He's played a pretty slow, safe, full clear in this situation. Looks like he's not going to go towards his Krogs, but he's done every other camp. He's now going to sweep up towards top side to take that scuttle. And then that is likely when we'll see him start move around and show where he wants to impact in the game.
Right, we've thrown a lot of focus here towards this bot side. We haven't actually been looking elsewhere. At the moment, mid lane seems to be relatively equal between here as Afro Boy is making his way through, making sure this lane does actually get pushed into Jacob here.
So there's a ward covering any potential from a gank on a Jacob in that situation. But the critical thing here is that Afro Boy isn't even worried about ganking. He wants to deny these scuttle crabs away from Rafa. And that's what he's doing in this situation. He's taking the top scuttle. He's taking the bot scuttle here. And to get a double scuttle start is always pretty favorable for a jungler. And now with the priority afforded bot lane and mid lane, he's actually free to go for an invade here if he wants.
Yeah, looks like he's going for it. Although Rabstar's
low. I mean, he could try dive.
He may even
this.
look for a dive, potentially. I mean, Alpaca has the health bar to do this. And Rafa making his way over towards that Gromp. Although we'll spot him out here. Actually do have the Zoe coming through as well. slide and glides away as they go for that bubble. Rabstar has to flash away. They jump underneath the tower. Alpaca's going to take a lot of tower shots here. Shogun has to flash away. Enclave just getting bullied around in the bot lane. Meanwhile, topside, only Angel. So obviously been having a bit of a trade with Akaz and been able to put some fair amount of damage into him.
Yeah, level up for Akaz should keep him safe, I would think, but he is getting pretty low if only Angel wants to go for something risky. Ultimately, a lot of summoners trade in the bot side, but the pressure you can see from this Varus just a bit too much. Even with the good CC coming out from Shogun, it wasn't enough to really turn things around. KDO flashed in aggressively. He didn't find the kill, but we're seeing 3 summoners down from Enclave's bot lane. That does kind of hurt, especially when you're already struggling in this matchup. And we can see Rabstar's gone for the Boots of Swiftness, so that extra movement speed to dodge away. But the issue is KDO's gone for that Serrated Dirk. So in terms of damage, KDO is just miles ahead right now. And that is the scary thing. And that sort of frees Afro Boy to play around this bot lane as aggressively as he needs to.
The lane in the bot side still just getting pushed in. CS deficit, not massive. It's there, but it's only 5 at the moment. So it's not awful for them currently. Rabstar's actually picked up the swiftness boots, so he can dodge away from KDO as effectively as possibly. Rava's been kind of hard farming, but he's still not massively far ahead of Afro Boy at the moment. Just trying to get himself to level 6 as quick as possible on this Shyvana.
I think the critical thing with that was that Rafa took a lot of damage in his clear and also was denied both Scuttle Crabs. So that's allowed Afro Boy to keep up. And remember, as much as we said Jarvan can gank early, we haven't seen that out of Afro Boy in this situation. He has kind of just kept to the farming role, which ultimately I think is fine, but it does sort of hold yourself a little bit behind in terms of what you're trying to achieve in the early levels. I would like to see when you take a Jarvan that you try and make the impact.
Oh, Akaz actually going in on Only Angel here. It's got him chunked out low. Only Angel trying to survive. Just about gets underneath his tower to safety. Getting heavily poked out in this top lane.
And at the end of the day, you didn't burn your ult. You didn't burn your flash. I don't think Only Angel's actually too bothered about that. You got the ult away from Akaz and didn't die. As much as you did get chunked out and you're pretty low, it's not too much of an issue.
Well, lane's going to get shoved in. Akaz, Only Angel actually decided not to go to base. He decided to stay and hold the wave as much as possible. So he's not going to TP back in yet, still holding that ability.
I just feel bad for Shogun in this situation. Just the consistent poke being laid down. You're essentially always going to be at a sort of low HP point. And that's just the oppressiveness of this poke Varus. Does not have the level 6 available, so they have that tool to play with. Rabstar has the cleanse, though, so not going to have quite as much impact.
Right, as we look elsewhere, mid lane still stays fairly equal. Top lane, obviously we're seeing that trade, that exchange between Akaz and Only Angel go down, but there will come a point where Only Angel should be okay until that Blade of the Ruin King gets finished off onto Akaz. He's going to go to base, probably get himself the Bilgewater Cutlass now, and maybe part of his recurve bow. But once the Blade of the Ruin King gets picked up, that's when Only Angel will start to feel the hurt.
And I think that's
already
the thing
with early lane swap here by Enclave. They're really not wanting to be in this laning phase as much as possible. Raven now level 6, hanging around, and Afro Boy may just look to start up this Rift Herald.
Actually, pings are coming out. There's a lot of information trying to be discerned by these pings, but right now they're looking for Alpaca.
Oh,
Don't quite connect, but we could see Afro Boy has a great flank here, and they're still not aware he's in position.
They're trying to head over. They're sniffing him out. Afro Boy is currently in a really rough position. The bubble goes down. The teleport's there. Rapper is going to look to jump away as Shogun gets himself caught in. First blood picked up for KDO. In comes the ultimate. The curtain has been called, and it's only going to hit 2 shots. One onto KDO, one onto Afro. And this should just be the Rift Herald getting picked up by the side of Barrage Academy. Down their support, but Enclave, it looks like they're not completely done yet. And the Angel does have the ultimate, although Akers is looking to try and get something. They've popped the ultimate from Rafa, and the bubble is perfectly timed onto the Angel into the Cyclone. The Emperor's Divide will save his life. And that looks like that should just be it for the side of Enclave. No ability to fight this anymore. They're just going to give it up. Barrage picked up the Rift Herald.
I mean, it was a great amount of patience shown by Afro Boy. The fact that he just waited there in that brush for such a long time. A lot of players would have lost their nerve there, but he held his own. Got a very easy kill out of it on the Shogun. And then I'm not really sure what happened after that, because Rafa and Rabstar, for some reason, opted to stay around. And we saw 3 flashes burn from Enclave in that extended play, when there was no reason to even contest that. You can just back away, say, okay, cool, we lost a member, we don't get the Herald, move on. We can put resources elsewhere. There's a dragon spawn in a few seconds they could have set up vision for, but instead they still feel forced to try and contest this, and they just end up burning even more summoners. So not really happy with Enclave's turn of play there, but definitely could have been worse.
Great clone there by Akers to save his life. And Barrage then now picking up themselves their second Drake. And the Dragon Soul could be a big point. We're either going to be looking at an Infernal or a Ocean Soul. 2 really, really solid Drakes. Is the Ocean Soul. Infernal would have been lovely for Barrage. The amount of poke they could have laid down. But now that Rift Herald, now with KDO on the bot side, the Cloud Dragon picked up. This should just be first turret blood over to the side of Barrage. I don't think there's going to be an answer from Enclave quick enough. The plates are melting. And with the charge from Shelly, they're going to melt even quicker.
I mean, that tower's just gone. And this is really where the mistake has come in from the side of... Actually, it is quite tanky at low HP, but they're still going to be able to take it out. And this is where the mistake has come in from Enclave. So I was talking about how they decided to stay and contest instead of moving their resources elsewhere. Ooh. That's a bit rough, but because they were so late to bot lane, because they reset slower than Barrage Academy, they lose out on the Dragon. They then lose out on the bot lane tower on top of that. And not only did they lose the Herald, they've lost so much more. And this is where the word that's thrown about it a lot that comes in here is tempo. Tempo is sort of when you're setting the pace, when you're on the map. So when you're low HP and mana and you have no wards left, you need to reset, but resetting gives up tempo because the other team could be ready to do something, ready to act. And in this situation, we saw Enclave, instead of resetting, getting the tempo advantage and looking to play around the Dragon and defend from the Herald, they tried to contest an objective they wouldn't win. They lost it, they lost the Dragon, they lost the tower, and now they're 1,000 gold down as well. So a massive mistake I can't highlight enough that really seemed very little at first.
We have a look at the items as well here. The Umbral Glaive has now been finished up for KDO, while Rabstar running around with the BF Sword and a pickaxe, working towards his Infinity Edge, but still a bit of a ways off. Just trying to catch this wave bot side for himself. You can see Akers is waiting around, probably not really risking it. Doesn't know where everyone is on the map right now. Although Shogun in base. Still got some time as well until these plates fall off. 40 seconds left, so maybe Barrage look to try and get an extra plate, but it looks like they're just going to call it there. Happy with first turret blood, happy with the 5 plates they got for themselves. They put themselves 1,200 gold up over their counterparts right now. Knackers just farming away in the bot lane, building towards that Blade of the Ruined King, and at that point, his fight versus Only Angel actually will get fairly rough for Only Angel.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing with the Blade of the Ruined King. For top laners specifically, is the components aren't great for the champion like Wukong, but the full Blade of the Ruined King was with a pound. Oh, look at that damage!
Shogun just got chunked!
Ow. That hit me, physically, seeing that happen. And that's why we see...
so hard, we felt it.
That's why we see the Poke Virus frequently banned away. It is just so oppressive, especially at this mid-game point. And Barrage Academy are looking to capitalize on that strength.
Afro Boy stepping up, does have that flag and drag. Rabstar goes in,
great
Shogun
save!
goes for the hook! The stopwatch comes down, that's going to be the Glacial Fissure. In comes Rafa though, the dragon's there. Jacob looks for the slide and glide, picks out 2. 1, 2 kills should be picked up. That's going to be the second one for Jacob. KDO is out of there.
And Shogun, it's just after my heart. What a beautiful play there. Flashes in, fillets Afro Boy's dash. Afro Boy felt like, oh, I can keep it in the tower. I'm safe to get out. But a beautiful play comes in that shuts him down. And quickly, we saw this Varus, who is so strong right now, get threatened. They don't pick him up, but they get 2 kills. That pushing pressure they were looking to establish top is denied. And Enclave showing they have some bite.
Rabstar goes straight to base, gets himself his Infinity Edge as well. An expensive item picked up for him. Still wants to pick up a little bit more before he starts to really get that pop off. That rapid fire cannon crucial for him here on this Jhin. Ojak's maybe looking for a bubble over the wall, but not going to find it. Does just throw it out though, just fishing.
Well, he's got to be careful about those. I mean, if you're talking about 2 champions that can one-shot, Zoe and Poke Virus are those champions. So Enclave definitely have to be really careful, especially at this point of the game. But it's just weathering the storm. Getting to the later stages when their champions become more relevant. And 20 seconds on this Ocean Dragon, I think we're going to end up seeing a scenario where Barrage Academy just give it up. And the thing is, I think that might actually end up being the right decision. It's so hard to contest this. And critically, Only Angel has no TP to come down quickly. Although, as I say that, he is starting to walk down. This could backfire. Rabstar's already low on HP.
Yeah, Rabstar already took a bit of poke from the Zoe in mid, and Rafa has got ultimate available. With the Runic Echoes and the Sork Boots, Rafa is going to do a lot of damage, but so is KDO. Just taking off a pretty healthy third of his health bar.
So the advantage here is having TP. Oh, Akaz is TPing in.
Yeah, teleport's coming in. Rabstar's going to instantly catch him out. Flashes away from the Cyclone as Akaz looks for the tower dive. The bubble goes a little bit wide and the curtain is cooled. Not going to hit anyone, but Rabstar getting poked out. The Scorch Burn was almost enough. A massive Emperor's Divide by Jacob is enough to scatter the fight for Enclave here. A double kill picked up. Alpaca goes golden. Jacob goes for the cleanse. Alpaca flashes forward and finds himself the kill. Meanwhile, Shogun gets himself a hook. Zoe flashes over the wall. He is out of there. In comes Wojak, so able to get himself a little bit more. They go for more damage as Wojak gets the bubble over the wall. Only Angel trying to survive, trying to hold his life, is able to find himself one more. Enclave are running away with the fight now as Zoe is the only one to stand. Enclave hold on the heels. A snipe comes out by Rabstar, and Enclave, they bite back.
Enclave find a beautiful team fight. It's in the mid game. The Varus is so strong. The Zoe so powerful, and yet Enclave win it out, and it was all down to Jacob there with the beautiful Emperor's Divide. I was hyping this guy up coming into it, and he is delivering. That was so good, and that fight was still close, and I think that shows how powerful Barrage Academy are right now. The fact that they managed to keep themselves close in that one, but even so, Enclave, just the impact that Azirael had there was just huge, and it allowed Only Angel, who's tanky enough to withstand all the damage in the mix of things, to end up clearing up at the end. By all means, Barrage Academy have the tools, but Enclave have had the plays.
And that fight was won while Rabstar was running around with probably 40 health. He was poked out the fight way before it started. He got chunked.
Yeah, I will
And
say,
he still was able to come in and tidy that fight up off the back of Jacob. Jacob, fantastic Emperor's Divide. Now, it does look like Barrage are heading over towards this Rift Herald. Wanting to get their hands on that, trying to contest it. We'll have to see if Enclave want to kind of contest this anymore. They've already had a fantastic start. As Afro Boy can take a little bit of poke here.
one thing I will say is that Rabstar's curtain call was, we'll go with questionable. Popping it down,
it was
instantly
just bad.
cancelling it. Yeah, I think bad works too. Could have been a very easy win for Enclave if he'd had that like aimed correctly for the team fight, but ultimately they still came out ahead. Now, looking for the engage here.
The curtain call comes down. This time it looks to hit a few more members. Alpaca tanks most of it up as Afro Boy does catch out Only Angel. The call of the Forge God gonna be dodged out narrowly by KDO as he also dodges away from the Deadly Flourish. Looking for the arrow, looking for the snipe. The flash comes down by Shogun to keep his life. And Enclave start the fight, get chunked out. Meanwhile, Akers is just going to chip away at these towers in the bot lane. Bojack's continuing to poke away on the Zoe.
This is a concern, is that Enclave know they have to force fights. They can't just let the Zoe and the Varus poke them out of a fight. And the end result is they keep forcing Only Angel to group. Sure, you're good at starting fights, but it means you have no one to answer this Wukong, and Akers is just taking towers consistently against you. Barrage Academy now 3 towers to 0, and as much as Enclave forced Barrage Academy away, they didn't really get anything from that. They didn't get the Herald, they didn't get any kills. Wasn't that great of a turn of events?
Now they're turning their attention towards this mid lane. Not going to be able to pick it up. The Rift Herald has now despawned. As we're 20 minutes on the clock, the Baron Nashor is here. The ornaments have already started up, though. Only Angel has picked himself up his Forge Fire Cape. And one level away from giving that Molten Edge over to Rabstar.
Again, though, the pressure really is on Barrage Academy. Because as much as they still, despite the fact the gold is even, they still have the more powerful composition right now. But Enclave do have some scaling late game insurances they can rely on, so as long as they aren't throwing the game away, as long as they aren't giving out Barons or Dragon Souls, Enclave should be all right. And that dragon they got earlier is critical, because if they hadn't, we'd be a minute 40 away from Barrage having the Dragon Soul, and Ocean Soul is the most powerful of those. So very important that they ensured that wasn't on the cards. But the question is going to be, will they try and fight for this next one in a minute and a half? Right now, Rafa was potentially looking for a pick on the top side, hoping for someone to show up. I think he's decided he's going to move down and try and assist the team in contesting the Skull Crab.
I was curious to see what items are available to Enclave for that fight. You can see the Ghost Blade and the Umbral Glaive on the side of KDO. Rabstar just gone to base. He's already got that Infinity Edge and should be working towards his Rapid Fire Cannon. Finishes it up on that base. So that's a pretty big buy here for Rabstar now. Means that range will start to come through for him. Jacob with the Leandries and the Nashor's Tooth. Still a ways off actually getting himself an item that will be upgraded by the Ornn, but Only Angel still level 13 at the moment for himself, so not really the biggest concern for this team. As Rabstar, fancy feet, dodging away on everything from the Zoe there.
So is the game, it can be really down to inches. Dodging away a critical skill shot, especially from the likes of a Zoe or a Varus, can decide a fight.
Afro Boy needs to be careful. Call of the Forge God's actually been thrown out. This time the bubble doesn't land onto the right target as they do use that curtain call by Rabstar, and he gets 2 shots off as the Cyclone lands onto Shogun. Shogun's going to get picked up. Jacob, though, on the flank with the Emperor's Divide available. Rabstar dodges away on the bubble, and Akers is low. Heal comes out by Zoe to make sure that none of his friends will be going down as Rabstar continues to poke away here. This actually could just be the Dragon over to Enclave. They're looking to equalize out on the score. Although Alpaca and KDO trying to do something. That arrow was super close.
Absolutely was, and that could have been instrumental if they managed to secure that, but Enclave secure it, and finding that pick on Afro Boy really important. Taking the jungler down just essentially secures the objective for your team. And again, it just takes the pressure off Enclave. We're still 2 dragons away from the soul. Enclave are happy just to farm up. You can see Jacob in the side lane. He's pulled up ahead of Woju in the CS department.
Oh, Rabstar doing a lot of damage to KDO there. He's going to take this bubble, but should just get blocked up by his teammate. Shogun looks for the hook. Rabstar does take an arrow to the face, though. That's enough to chunk him out, and Bojack's doing so much work over the wall from this Zoe. Rafa is going to throw out an ulti and just get the Dragon's Breath onto Wojak. So he's just going to have to base up himself. And it looks like these squishier members are all starting to get reset. Jacob double buffs on the Azir. It's only Angel going for a fight versus Akers. Akers now with this Blade the Ruin King and building towards that Trinity Force. Got a lot of damage to work with. And looks like for now, Enclave, they just want to get control of this Baron area. The Scryer comes down.
It's just a denial game. They just know they don't need a force. And Jacob, Only Angel, and Rafa all up in levels compared to their counterparts. All up in farm as well. They just need to keep this up. Maintain this. The pressure is not on you. The pressure is on Barrage Academy. And you can feel that in this game. They are trying to force. They have 5 members mid. But I don't think they're going to be able to get much here.
Well, the curtain has been called here. It's just to clear out the wave and get some poke down onto these members. 4th shot hits the clone just as it fades. Neither team really has a particularly fast Baron. Actually, Enclave, no, they have an Azir. Sorry, they have an Azir with Leandris.
Enclave's is pretty fast. I think Barrage Academy is quite slow, which is the big issue.
But
ultimately,
Barrage Academy want Enclave to do the Baron, so they can just poke them and force them out. That's the perfect scenario.
Enclave will never start this Baron.
Exactly.
Because it's just the poke as well, but it's also, again, it's the time pressure. Barrage Academy might start the Baron to try and force Enclave to contest them. But the thing is, Barrage Academy don't want a team fight. They want to poke. And it's difficult to find a situation to poke if the enemy team isn't moving on to objectives. Dragon is the bigger one to look towards. If you can poke them off around Dragon, you're in a good spot because Enclave do want to contest those.
Rapstar gets some pretty decent damage onto both Alpaca and onto KDO. Lantern means he'll be nice and safe, but this wave is pushing in, and in comes Rafa. He's looking for Akers, actually. Gets himself the Dragon's Breath. The flash comes out by Akers, and Akers is just going to get out of there. Shogun looks for a hook. Not going to find it. Tier 1 turret still standing for both of these teams. Rafa's Dragon is about to time out.
And all Enclave are doing is rotating their wave clear champions into mid. So, I mean, Jin's not really a wave clear champion, but they put Jin mid, Jin clears the waves. When Jin needs to recall, they put Azir mid, Azir clears the waves, and they keep cycling this. And this is why they're building the CS lead, and this is why Barrage Academy are just making no headway. That tower still being alive means Barrage can't push up deeper into the jungle. They're just not being given the avenue to do so, and as a result, this game has slowed down to an almost halt. Level 15 now on this Ornn, he's just given a Molten Edge over to Rabstar. It's just this side of Enclave getting stronger and stronger. And all they need to do is just keep cycling these Scuttle Crabs. Rafa has been on these so heavily. Every time the Scuttle Crab spawns around Baron, he takes it, walks away. He knows if the enemy tries to Baron, he will see it. And it's just, by all means, Enclave knowing exactly what their win condition is and playing to it. And this must be frustrating for Barrage Academy, because you can tell they want to do stuff, but they're just not finding the chances.
Now, Jacob actually has gone back. He got himself the Banshee's Veil. So 3 items here on this Azir. Shogun will take that arrow. KDO still hurting quite a lot here. So he's building towards his Knight's Veil, which means he'll be a little bit harder to catch out by these members. Now, Packer looks to step up. This wave gets shoved and Enclave move into the jungle, looking to catch out some of these Barrage members. Bubble does land onto Only Angel, but with the Bellows Breath, he's able to actually survive it. And now, Call of the Forge God and the Curtain Call has been thrown down. They're looking for KDO. He's not going to take too much here. As Rapper lands the Dragon's Breath, but a great chain zone to spread. Shogun goes for the hook, unable to find it. Only Angel now, he's the one caught out. Gets the Lantern back into the Cataclysm. Akers, the 2-man Cyclone does come out as the bubble lands. Shogun looks to block. He's going to sacrifice his life for his AD carry. Rapster is still alive. It's a 3 versus 4, though. Health bars on Barrage are a little bit low, but save for Enclave. Rapstar takes down Wojux with a snipe to the face. And now it's a 4 versus 4. KDO just too low, though. Only Angel still chunky and willing to stand at the front. Jacob and Ravstar should be able to pick up this Ocean Drake for their team, and that will be the 3rd one for them. Able to clear out the wave. Enclave hold mid lane tower. They get their 3rd Ocean Drake. They're 1 away from Soul. And these pokey fights are going to be so much harder to play around when you've got the amount of regen available to Enclave off Ocean Soul.
Absolutely. I mean, even just the triple Ocean Dragon starts to become really formidable when you're relying on poke. And critically there, Enclave were the ones who overstepped in that fight. Barrage Academy attempted to turn it around, but some really good individual play. I want to highlight Shogun body blocking for Rabstar, sacrificing himself to save his AD carry, as all good support should do, and then it allowed Rabstar to find that huge crit onto Wojux with the fourth shot to give them that advantage, because they took down Wojux. KDO was 0 mana and a low HP, and that was enough for them to take that third dragon. And now, once again, we are in that situation where Enclave do not feel pressured. They know they scale well. They know they have the wave clear to deal with the issues mid. They know that the Dragon Soul isn't on the cards. And I see Engage coming in here from Barrage Academy.
Yeah, Rafa's going to go golden momentarily. Gets out with a lantern as well. The curtain call actually comes out. Trying to find their shots. Wojux is so slippery on that Zoe. The 4th shot will connect, but doesn't really do too much damage. However, they're keeping the tempo up here. Only Angel. Cooler Forge got into the charge. Bubble does land, but Only Angel breaks it with the Bellows Breath. And Enclave, they don't find anyone, but they look for it. And now Akers is going to continue to push in the top lane. With that Blade of the Ruined King, with the Triforce, he actually might just take this inhibitor turret here. Enclave are cooling them, though. And they're trying to just go for this Baron, potentially, although they're actually just contesting vision. Kind of scratching their heads, and they may almost give up the inhibitor. Rabstar has to be careful. He's able to get out. Inhibitor stands. They lose the turret. Jacob and Rafa, they're looking to chip away at this Baron. Double Nashers. They're going to be able to chip away fairly fast, but Barrage, they answer out. They've got the poke. They've got the damage to work with, and it looks like Enclave go, we don't want to fight this. They step away. They're going to look to reset.
That Wukong in the side lane is being an issue in this situation. Akers is consistently threatening. Looks like he's going to start this one up again. No vision, but...
he did that on a ward, actually, so he realized to step away.
So instantly just backed off. Didn't want to risk it. He's threatening the Baron, but not committing. Ultimately, that Wukong is starting to become a problem in the side lane for Enclave. But despite that, we're still seeing an Enclave who are stronger right now in terms of where they are in the game. They're only just under 2,000 gold ahead, but Jacob is really coming online. He's hit level 16. He's got 3 items under his belt. Rabstar as well has that nice critical strike trinity of having 75%. And he's a level up on KDO. Only Angel at 17 can start handing out items whenever they're available. Right now, he's waiting for Rabadons to be finished on Rafa and Jacob, but Enclave are feeling comfortable. The only thing that concerns them is the Wukong, but right now the next objective they're focused on is this dragon, and it's up in 2 minutes, so that is sole for Enclave if they can secure it. If they get that one, I think the game is just completely over in their favor.
So they're moving over. Akers needs to be a little careful. Has been spotted out on a ward. The Call of the Forger comes out, misses that as well as the Deadly Flourish. It's one ultimate burnt. That's a pretty big engage ultimate, as Rafa does have ultimate available to him.
The thing is that Only Angel's ultimate comes up so quickly. You can already see it's a quarter done just about now.
Oh.
So at this point of the game, when you're level 16, you can just throw it out pretty freely. Now, Barrage Academy trying to find this poke, and they do threaten it. Rafa is chunked out, and he's actually recalling on a ward, so they're aware of that, but ultimately, it's still a minute before that dragon. They'll be able to get back. What they're trying to play for now is priority in the mid lane. They want to shove up, rotate out, establish vision control, and then it forces Enclave to face check into poke, and that's when things get dangerous.
Rabster was walking around that ward quite a lot there. Needs to be careful for Afro Boy here. That's going to be the curtain call into the bubble, instantly thrown out to Rafa. Rafa's going to fall. So they do land the shots from the ultimate from Rabstar there. So he looks to chase up, but not going to be able to find too much more. Rafa instantly gets picked off the moment he Dragon's Descent.
Yeah, just a big mistake coming out from Rafa there in that situation. Ulting in with no real plan as to what to do after. He's going to spawn at the same time as the dragon, but ultimately he's going to have to travel over and get in position to sort of contest this. Now, KDO being low means he's resetting, but there's going to be a window where Barrage Academy have 5 members on the map versus 4, and they have to capitalize on that. They cannot give up this Ocean Dragon.
KDO making his way forward. Look for the arrow. So speedy.
Enclave just need to stall this till the jungler gets in position. But I don't think Barrage Academy are going to give them that chance.
Only Angel lands a good knock up there, although Deadly Flourish goes a little bit wide. Watch Jacob. Could make a defining ultimate here. Only Angel goes for the Call of the Forge God, gets blocked up by Alpaca, but they're inside the pit. They're inside the poke zone as Only Angel jumps in forward. Chains of Corruption actually land onto Rabstar on the backline. Lands a Deadly Flourish onto Alpaca, but it's not enough to get the kill, and that is Ocean Soul denied for yet another spawn. It's 3 Drakes apiece. The next dragon will decide who gets Soul, and Enclave losing their jungler there was critical for them.
Yeah, just a mistake from Rafa that is actually really costly, because now the next dragon is a bit of a coin flip. Whoever gets that dragon gets Soul. Before that one that Barrage Academy just took, it was so heavily stacked in Enclave's favor.
Uh-oh, Flash Play, KDO. They're actually going to land the hook onto the right person. That time Alpaca's going a little bit low. He's ignited as he has to flash away. Enclave looking for the pick out of the darkness onto the Barrage members.
Yeah, big play coming out of Shogun there, finding double summoners from the bot lane and chunking them out. It's enough for them to say, let's go onto this Baron.
So we're looking for the poke. They know this is going on. The Drowsy does land onto one on the backline. Afro Boy looking for an entrance in. This Baron is melting. They've spotted it out. They've got that Emperor's Divide. Meanwhile, Akaz is going to take down the inhibitor, but
it doesn't matter.
Looks like they may just catch out Afro Boy inside the jungle here. He was able to get away in time.
That's the thing. You take the Baron, you get the short recall, you can instantly get back to defend. Yes, you lost your bot lane inhibitor, but it's the bot lane, it's the inhibitor, sorry, that's closest to the Ocean Dragon. So that's the next objective on the cards, next major one. You aren't too concerned about losing the inhibitor. It was a good engage coming out from Shogun that set up that passage of play, and Enclave are starting to maintain control of this game. They're now almost 3,000 gold up, closing in on that dragon in 3 minutes, and they have time with this Baron to start to make an impact on the map. You want to start picking up towers and equalizing that score. Barrage Academy currently taking 5. Definitely catch that up soon. And we're seeing Rabadon's already upgraded for Rafa and now upgraded for Jacob as well. So although you're seeing a 4,000 gold advantage with the extra stats, it's actually coming to a lot more than that.
Look at all those ornaments. You've got the Molten Edge, Double Death Crown, Forge Fire Cape, and the Abyssal Mask. Infernal Mask, I believe it's called. Because KDA is going to lose his Banshees.
And this is the point
continues
where
to shove, though.
I mean, only Angel should be in the side lane. You don't need to be grouped with your team constantly. Just answer the split push and you're fine.
They're at least split pushing on the other side of the map, dealing with those super waves, but base is going to come down. They are not going to give up another inhibitor tower here. However, Rafa steps forward, lands a big Dragon's Breath out there. The Curtain Call will just zone the members of Barrage away.
You've closed the gap in towers, but you did lose one yourself, so still one behind. Well, Angel has TP, so you're happy to sort of answer in the side lane. I'm just really concerned for Barrage Academy at this point. I just don't think they have the damage available. KDO can't ever cut through this Ornn. He's just too tanky. So once he TPs in the fight, he's just going to take so much effort for the enemy team to try and shut down. Rabstar feels really difficult to deal with as well. He's got Cleanse. There's a Mikhail's and Shogun. The Lantern as well. Flash is available almost across the board for Enclave. And essentially, they don't need to break the base in this situation. They just need to keep Barrage Academy trapped in the base. If we look towards the boss side jungle and that dragon area, there's just no vision from Barrage Academy. They can't step out their base to contest it. So the end result is going to be Enclave already have setup on this dragon. Unless Barrage Academy can push outside of their base. They might look for it now that a reset came in from Rabstar, but well, the Angel's going to pull away and not be threatened.
Yeah, Rabstar picked up the Guardian Angel there, so now even harder to kill. Like you were saying, the Mikhails, the Hex Drinker. Now with the GA stacked on top of that, it's going to be so hard to find these picks into Rabstar. And only Angel waiting in the flank. Does pop out onto KDO, gets himself the knockup. The Call of the Forge God's going to be used. Only Angel not going to be able to find it as it gets gobbled up by Alpaca. And Afro Boy just running to the winds. Only Angel stepping forward as Jacob secures himself the Call. Curtain Call is going to land, but Wojux lands a bubble. Not going to find too much more as the chains miss out. Enclave find himself their pick. And that is good timing, because if you look at the map, that dragon is spawning up soon, and Enclave just just did their best to get as much as they could there. Jungler down, and now they may just look for a support as well. Alpaca will fall to Rabstar, and this should just be the turret falling.
Yeah, team's taking the turret, and Raph is just going to finish the dragon by himself. And she could actually have looked to end here, maybe, but they don't have too many minions.
Yeah, Baron Buff's timed out. Akers takes a lot of damage from Rabstar here. KDO looking for the arrows, but he's not going to be able to find it. It looks like they should just be able to send them back out of their base in time. And Enclave find themselves their kills, get themselves Ocean Soul with 4 Ocean Drakes behind it. Almost full build on Rabstar's Jhin.
This is where it gets a little bit scary. Does the Ocean Soul just makes it so difficult? Even if you poke someone out, they're going to be able to sustain back up. And you were talking about the GA before and how obviously it means if you kill him, he comes back. But it's not just that. The GA has a sizable amount of armor on it. And armor just does so much work at reducing the effectiveness of that lethality on KDO. Barrage Academy have missed their win conditions. They've missed it by several turn-ins. And they're already a few miles down the highway at this point. And now they're really just looking for a miracle to find their way back in this game.
All right, 40 minutes on the clock. The gold lead, 8k. Almost starting to feel not as important at this point as most people are approaching their full and final builds. Call of the Forge God's been used onto Akers. Akers is going to go golden. Rafa still got Dragon Form for a little bit more. The Dragon's Breath will get eaten out by Alpaca here, though, as Barrage are looking to collapse, as Shogun's got the back as well. Bubble gets eaten up by Jacob's Banshee's Veil, and now they may just be looking for the Zoe. Jacob stepping forward here. Wojux will be caught out by the box and that 4th shot. Jacob gets himself a killing spree, and Enclave look to continue to chase. They want to go for more. Jacob gets caught out by the chains as they do spread to Shogun, but Rabstar is looking for Akers. He take a lot of damage, but still has that GA available to him and holds his life for the moment. Rafa comes in with a chilling smite and looks to chase down Akers. He gets caught by the clip of the Deadly Flourish, and that should just be the kill. This could just be the game
Only
here.
Angel. He just doesn't care. He'll just tank the tower for days, and I think Barrage Academy know the game is as good as done at this point. 3 members against 5, the Ocean Soul, and this Invincible Ornn.
Ramstar's back to full health. I mean, he did lose his GA, but the Ocean Drake just gives so much sustain over to the Enclave team here. They've got the minion wave to work with now. Super's pouring in. They've got a cannon in the bot side. These towers are going to melt to the Jhin. So Hook lands onto one. Jacob sends the Sand Soldiers forward. Turret number 1 will go down. Wojux needs to make a miracle happen here on the Zoe, but the minions block up the Paddle Star. Alpaca once again will eat the Call of the Forge God, but Afro Boy will bleed out, and now Jacob looking to jump in. KDO has to flash away, but the minions are going to chase him down. Wojux as well will fall. A double kill picked up for Rabstar. The Nexus will fall, and Enclave in 41 minutes take out Barrage.
Almost clinical from Enclave there. A slower game than we saw in game 1, but ultimately the result was going in their favor. They knew what their win condition was, and they played to it. And I think that has to be celebrated. The patience from them to not overstep. There were moments, but for the most part, it just felt like Barrage Academy, their momentum just kept getting taken away from them. It was like a sapping, draining game where you feel, oh, look how powerful I am. Let's try and get this objective. And then you miss again and again and again and again. And I think it was a draft that made the game easier for Enclave, and they played it well. I think there was a lot of things that had to click together for Barrage Academy.
Yeah, as soon as the winds got in their sails, they changed direction, and Barrage, they just weren't able to find that win. Now, we're going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back, we actually have an interview standing by with Only Angels, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the UKLC, where we are just running down the win there for Enclave over the side of Barrage Academy. We do have Only Angel waiting in the wings, ready for an interview. I don't know if he's here. Are you here, Enclave? Only Angel?
Hello, yeah, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Hey.
How'd you feel after that win then?
I mean, it just took longer than expected, but it was the first game, so
Yeah.
it went all right. It felt like we were in control, so that's the most important thing.
Yeah, because I felt like, the early, obviously, especially in the bot lane, it was probably pretty rough for them, but that big team fight at the Dragon Pit was a really defining moment, especially for Jacob joining in with that 3-man Azir ultimate. What's it like kind of having him on the team? How's it been with Jacob?
Jacob is just very consistent player. Like, he's not very well known, but from just scrims and just the way he communicates, he's just very consistent, and he's always getting like 10 CS per minute, which is great as you saw this game.
So that game was quite a slow one, and there was a lot of sort of play around the neutral objectives, in particular the dragons. I want to ask, who's the main sort of voice who's coordinating that for you guys in Enclave?
Right now Rafa is the main shot caller. He has the most experience, got the loudest voice, but it's a team effort. We've got a lot of experience on our team, so whatever we see an opportunity, then we all just follow each other and trust each other.
Awesome. So I asked this earlier today, but I'm curious where you think you guys rank in the power rankings here in the UKLC. Where do you think the Enclave fall in our teams? Where do you rank yourself?
I mean, it's still early stages. I haven't seen the other teams play, but on paper, I think we should be top 2, top 3, top 1. We shouldn't be looking for less. But yeah,
I think for me, a lot of people have hyped up Enclave, yourselves, and London as a sort of 2 big rosters. Do you sort of see maybe a rivalry developing as both of you are looking to compete for that spot in the NLC?
I mean, for us, our goal is to get into NLC, so we don't really see London as rivals. They're just a stepping stone for us. They're a good team though, I don't think it's gonna be easy, but if there's gonna be a rival formed, then so be it. But our goal is to get into NLC.
And do you have any rivals in the top lane? Are there any top lane players that you would consider to be a rival or maybe a threat to you?
I don't know. Top lane is just try to be useful, play tanks, and have an impact on the game. I don't feel like it's very 1v1 orientated right now. So I feel like whoever communicates best and offers the most to the team. But no, I mean, I'm not afraid of any top laners at all. I'm pretty confident in my own abilities.
Good stuff. Well, congratulations on your win there. Hopefully you can look for some more in the future games coming up. But thank you for joining us here after that game. Congratulations once again, and we will see you later. Now, guys, we are going to be cutting to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll be back with our 3rd game of the day. Forget where we are. That will be Munster versus... it'll be London Esports versus Munster. There we go. Awesome. So we'll see you after the break.